I don't know if you guys saw, but I put out a poll on social media last week because I was genuinely curious after we had talked about it. So what was it, 2 episodes ago? Last episode? I can't remember. We did Alien Romulus last episode.
Yep.
And I was like genuinely curious to see where like people are at, because we didn't really talk about it too much during the episode because we were kind of keeping it like Romulus focused, but like Alien and Aliens are so drastically different from one another. And I was just curious like where the Alien like fandom is. So I did a poll asking what people's favorite Alien was. I put Alien, Aliens, Prometheus, because Prometheus was pretty popular, and then Alien Romulus because it was pertinent to our episode. So on YouTube, we had 43 votes, and Alien won with 44%, and Aliens came in second with 26% of the vote. On Twitter, or X, the everything app, we got less votes. There was only 8 votes, but kind of crazy. Alien was second place with 25%, and Aliens was 62% of the vote. Now, between you and I mean, you guys probably could already assume Alien is the better film in my opinion, or I prefer it. If I'm going to sit down and watch an Alien movie, it's the first one. Dusty, where do you fall into this?
I don't know. I'm kind of with KC on his response. I think Alien is a must-watch for everybody, but I think Aliens has better rewatchability for a wider audience.
For the action stuff.
Yeah, for the action. It's just a little more fun. If horror is your thing, then obviously you're going to pick Alien every time. But if you just want a little mindless action with some aliens, then Aliens is it. But I mean, I like watching them all. I like watching the AVPs for mindless action stuff. So.
And what do you think, Marvin?
It depends on the mood you're in. I mean,
yeah,
there's no correct answer, I think.
No, there's no correct answer. I don't know. I guess I had it in my head that like, oh, of course everybody's going to prefer Alien. But I guess the whole reason I did the poll is, like I said, they're just such drastically different movies that like, I don't know. I was curious.
Yep.
Yeah. So fun little experiment. It's probably the only franchise like it, really, other than Terminator, I would say maybe is sort of in the similar fashion, where the first one's sort of like a sci-fi horror film. It is action, but it's more like thriller. And then the second one's just like straight up sci-fi action. Also happens to be one of the greatest movies ever made, but whatever. Yeah, so I don't know. I just wanted to touch on that because I thought it was interesting. Romulus got a lot of love too, to be honest. A lot of people seemingly really enjoy that movie, and it's probably people who voted for it, Dusty, are probably the ones like you said in that review of like movie does do a really good job of like sort of bringing in new audience members to the franchise.
Yeah, and Fede did a good job of touching both movies that we're talking about, Alien, Aliens, and bringing in a little bit of both. There's some some slow, creepy, scary stuff, and then there's the action. So you get a little bit of both.
What the hell are we supposed to use, man? Harsh language?
Well, welcome back, folks. Number 108, episode 108 of the Harsh Language Podcast, and it's our favorite time of the month. It is Make Marvin Watch Day, and we're making Marvin watch Jacob's Ladder. A little bit later, it's one of my favorite movies. I picked it this month. Before we go forward, just a quick reminder. If you're enjoying the show and have not done so, please consider subscribing. It's an easy way for us to help get episodes out to you. So you see future content. And if you're feeling extra generous, leave a like or a comment. It helps us connect more with future watchers and listeners. So we appreciate you listening and hanging out with us. How are you guys doing? How was your week?
Good.
Marvin is in a new space, his perma space, I guess, for at least a couple of years, hopefully.
Oh, yeah, several years for sure. I'm doing good.
Nice.
You going to raise kids in this house or what?
I don't know. Not in this economy, probably not.
Is it a good kid raising house, you think?
It would be, yeah.
Okay.
But
nice.
Yeah.
Would be.
Congratulations. Everybody congratulate Marvin on being a homeowner.
Yeah, shout out. Good job.
That's
Leave
good.
a comment down below congratulating the man. How many nights have you been in that house?
Moved in on Friday. Didn't get to stay Friday night because we hadn't set the bed up. So this will be the third night, I think.
Okay. Nice. How are the pets adjusting?
Oh, they love it. I mean, it's a fenced-in area that came with the house in the back for the dog and
nice.
The cat.
Fenced-in area, like is the whole yard fenced in, or is there like a specific section that's like?
The whole back is fenced in.
Oh, that's good. That's great. Yep. A lot of running room.
Yes, a lot. Yeah.
You're gonna have to give me a virtual like FaceTime tour one of these nights. I want to see it.
Yeah, I'll have to do it in the daytime.
And most excitingly, you finally have room for a fish tank.
I got a lot of room in this room. It doesn't maybe look as big on cam, but it's a lot of space in here.
That's what I've been waiting for. I've been waiting for you to quit the excuses and get that tank.
Check finances. See.
No, of course. Yeah, I mean, listen. Marvin's like, whoa, hey, listen, I just fucking bought a house. Give me a break. So I have to ask, as a horror fan, any weirdness going on in the home? Have you seen any books stacked up where they shouldn't be?
No books.
Open refrigerator, anything like that?
Nah, nothing. Actually, we just bought a fridge today.
Well, here's the thing, Marvin. In horror films, it's usually a few days from moving in when you start to see some weird shit start to happening. So just keep an eye on it.
Yeah, check back in on Wednesday.
Yeah, on Wednesday, Marvin might be on his way out.
Yep.
Because I know you ain't going to be like characters in those movies where you're just fucking like, it's nothing, fucking just hanging out.
Right.
I saw a really funny...
It's an older house though, right? It's not like a poltergeist house where you're going to get those new creaks and sounds from the house settling into
It's it's like 2006. So
okay, yeah. It's already settled in then,
yeah.
One of my friends, our Discord moderator that you guys don't even know, and our biggest fan, Ree, shout out
Ree,
she's in the process of moving with her husband. He's in the army. They move around a lot. And not to dox her shit, but she lives on a fucking military base. She's fine. They were living in New York, upstate New York, for the last year or so, but now they're moving to Georgia. And she found out that the house they're living in, I don't know if she was joking or not, but she told me that it's like it was once a plantation.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of those.
So I was like, your shit is for sure haunted. And I don't even believe in that stuff, but your shit is haunted by the ghosts of fucking like dead, tormented fucking slaves and shit.
That's terrible.
Fuck
I would
that.
never.
Nah.
Yeah. That's one thing I wouldn't do is live on a former plantation, or even one that looks like one.
Yeah, I don't even believe in that shit.
Style of house. Yeah.
Nah, but you know that shit is haunted. And funny too, I saw a TikTok recently that was just like, it was like memeing movies, and it was like a kid drawing like some fucking horrific image of like a monster or whatever, and the dad comes up and it's a skit, and he's like, "Oh, what are you drawing, son?" And he's like, "My imaginary friend." And then the dad, like the rest of the TikTok video is him like packing up and leaving, and the kid's like, "Dad." So yeah, Marvin, first sign he's out the door. He ain't gonna stick around.
That's right.
I don't care, new house or not, I'm out.
It would be a quick movie if I was the star.
Shit's over in 10 minutes.
10 minutes, short film, baby.
Yep. Fucking, I didn't leave the refrigerator open. Out the door. What have you been up to, Dusty? How was your week?
Oh, it was pretty good. Just getting ready for the move, which is coming up pretty soon.
Nice.
Yeah, just,
everybody's fucking moving. I might just move just to fucking feel like I'm, in the loop or some shit.
I'm really not looking forward to this one because I already moved halfway across the country. So moving again in a month or two after that is.
This was planned, or this happened like quickly? The decision.
It wasn't entirely planned. There's just an availability of a house at a good rate that's bigger and more room. I'll have an office and stuff. So it'll be better.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, that's cool. You guys watch anything, even though you've been busy, or not so much?
Started watching Terrifier 3. I didn't finish it just because I wanted to have a nap. So
can't believe it. The fact that you just watch shit in like fucking segments really infuriates me.
Yep. I'll probably finish it, but that shit was just ridiculous.
Was it? It was like even more ridiculous than the first two?
Yeah, it was crazy. It wasn't even gross. It was kind of gross, I guess, but it was just silly. It was mostly just silly.
I have my own news piece a couple of news things that I took note of, and one of them is pertaining to Terrifier 3. But I ain't gonna step on your toes this week, Dusty. I'm gonna let you do your news first, and before the segue or at relevant moments, I'll jump in with my stuff. Just so you know.
There you go.
Yeah, it's hard to find a good segue for older movies, but there is a little tiny segue.
Hey, you are the master. Have you been watching anything?
The only thing I've had time to really watch is I'm keeping up with Agatha. Still good. I think there's like one episode left. I enjoyed the show. Tulsa King, watching that.
Oh, yeah.
And Slow Horses, the next season is also good. So yeah.
I'm fucking behind on everything, but this Sheridan verse is just moving very quickly. It is like on a fucking freight train. Because Tulsa, I still haven't watched Mayor of Kingstown this last season. I haven't watched this season of Tulsa King yet. I know that's out there. And I just messaged you guys last night that I noticed that the second season of Lioness is out. I didn't even know that was getting a second season. So, and I never watched the trailer for fucking Yellowstone. Did you guys watch the trailer for Yellowstone?
Nope.
Yeah, I watched it.
Does it look good? Like, oh, I did watch it. Never mind, I did.
Yeah. Costner's in it, so
somebody's getting dropped off at the train station too. I saw.
Yep.
Do we still care about that show? Like, I don't know if I do.
I don't know. It was the first show we ever really covered, and we had some good views from it. We might as well finish it because this is the last season of the show. I mean, they've got their spinoffs of.
Well, forget coverage. I just mean like genuinely
ranch, but
between us, like, do we care? Like as viewers, I don't know that I do. I mean, I don't know that I cared after the second season, to be honest.
I'm more interested in how Taylor Sheridan is able to close the book, basically, because of the shit show that happened with, the lockdowns and the strikes and the negotiations with Costner on recording times and everything.
Right.
If he can do a good job, I'll be like, props to Sheridan. But other than that, as far as the story goes, I'm forgetful about where we're at almost. So
this is the final. Yeah, this is the final season
of the Yellowstone itself.
And then we're getting that spinoff with Matthew McConaughey still, right?
Yes. And the Quad 6 Ranch still is happening, I believe.
I got real turned off after the season, like, was it season 2 or 3? Like the big hit where like fucking Beth was blown up and John was shot down in the fucking street and all that stuff. Like the way that they, and like, whatever, I still like Taylor Sheridan. I'm not like against him or anything, but the way that they handled that, I thought was so whack. And that became like, at least in my opinion, just that show's shtick. They'll like do some crazy shit that's like a massive cliffhanger. And then when they address it the next time, it's like, meh, nothing happened. Like, I don't know. It just kind of rubs me the wrong way, but whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I'll probably watch it, I'm sure, because you guys will watch it.
Yeah. Tulsa King is good this season. You can tell they're not filming in Oklahoma. Like you can tell like they sent a crew to Oklahoma. Yeah. If you're from Oklahoma. You can tell they sent a crew there to shoot like B footage and stuff for stuff they're doing because there's signs and stuff you just can't reproduce. But it's like New York, Kansas, and Oklahoma or Tulsa now. So
right.
But I think they're filming entirely in New York instead of Oklahoma.
Really? Does a lot of the season take place in New York?
No, they're just filming there for. I don't know if it was one. I think maybe Stallone had some issues in Tulsa or. It was cheaper for them to just stay in New York and not go back and forth. But yeah,
I mean, I was just gonna say, a lot of the show does take place in New York because that's part of the story. But there's like, I'm sure there's like swaths of land upstate that can at least
similar. Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah,
country.
It's not bad. Some of it you can tell. Like I can tell. I'm like that's clearly not anywhere in Oklahoma. But
yeah. I drove through Oklahoma City and.
Did you?
Yeah, I actually stayed there. We stayed there. It was one of our stops.
How was it?
Crossroads of America.
It was all right. I mean, we were only there for that night, and it was raining, and the fucking highways didn't have any lines. It's like nobody know like what the fuck is going on. Everybody's following me. I'm like, don't follow me. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Hard to see it in inclement weather sometimes. It's crazy.
Isn't that funny? Actually, you just like accidentally wrote like a really funny sketch. I feel like Because that's happened. Like, there's times where you'll be in like the most fucking severe thunderstorm ever where you cannot see on the road.
Yeah.
And it's like everybody just starts to follow like the person who's in front.
Yeah.
Like, imagine being that like first car and all the pressure on you, and you're just like, fucking just stay straight. Everybody's relying
drive
on me.
off the cliff. Like, oh, fuck.
Yep.
Oh my God, that's funny. Did you go to that area from Tulsa King where like you could stand in the center apparently and like hear nothing? That like void of time and space. Where was that, Dusty, in that first season?
I forget exactly where it's at.
Do you remember that, Marvin?
But I do remember that scene. Yeah.
I don't spend a whole lot. I don't go to Tulsa a whole lot.
Okay.
These shows need to come back sooner. I don't know what the fuck happened.
Marvin.
It's not like I'm super attached to it like I am with some shows where I'm like, oh, I already know what happened, or I'll watch a recap and I don't know what happened. I definitely have to watch a recap for Tulsa King because I got like no clue.
You know, I was just gonna take a note, but I'll just say it now. I don't care. We can fucking do it live. I've been looking for like topics for us to maybe discuss going forward for the show. And I mentioned to you guys like when we did like TV coverage, like, you know, those videos like performed pretty well. And of course, like not that that's important to us, but like, you know, we want to obviously do well. So
yeah, I mean, if we could talk about something that gets our audience members to watch, there's nothing wrong with that. That's a good thing.
I was just looking at stuff that maybe we could, talk about that we enjoy, and two shows that we're very excited for, Silo Season 2 and Severance. Maybe those are shows that we cover going forward because they seem to have a lot of popularity surrounding them and excitement and not much coverage out there. So that might be a little bit of a void that we could fill like we did with Yellowstone. And Marvin, the king of fucking recaps. We might do. I was going to suggest that we should do a Marvin-led recap of season 1 of both of those shows.
Wow,
you love recaps.
I still haven't watched Severance.
Yeah, that's.
And
problem is, I'm gonna miss something. And
no, that's fine. Listen, that's why there's 3 of us. But maybe we should do some recaps before those series drop. That's just a thought. Speaking of shows, I haven't really watched much, but I did finish finally Lady in the Lake that I've been talking to you guys about.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good show. It's like it's Apple, so like it was really good. It's just the ending was so weird. I mean, you guys are probably never gonna watch it, so I do want to.
Shrinking new season is out too.
I know
saw that.
Matter of fact, before I move forward, just to address what Marvin said, because I had a thought and I forgot about it. Like that's such an actual big problem. Like I know you're kind of like joking a little bit, but.
No, not really.
Dude, shows take so long to come back that honestly, I don't even remember them. Like, forget
like
not remembering the plot. Like, I don't remember them, that they exist. Shrinking was one of them. I loved the first season of Shrinking, and I got so I was waiting for the second season, but it took so long that I forgot that a show that I loved existed. And I got to tell you, if it wasn't for Up Next on Cody, I'd be in shambles. Like, I rely very heavily on that.
Yeah.
So.
That reminder is clutch.
It is good. Yeah, it's clutch. Anyhow, I finished Lady in the Lake. It's an Apple show, so it's like good by default because it's just Apple and Apple's great. But I had read some reviews about it. I don't think you guys are ever going to watch it, but I did want to talk about it a little bit because it was interesting. So it's based on a novel, and it's like a psychological thriller, sort of like crime drama, but it's set in 1960s Baltimore. And it follows the main character, Maddie Schwartz, and she's a like middle-aged Jewish housewife, and she's going through sort of like a midlife crisis. Like she's like just sick of being in like an overly patriarchal structure, like family structure, especially in the 60s, especially in the Jewish faith, in any faith really. Like there's that like patriarchy there. And she kind of just wants to like fuck off and like do her own thing, and she wants to become a journalist. And this the death of a little girl sort of sparks this in her. And the way they show this was like so good and creepy and had like these like horror elements to it. And like she's at a fucking like Thanksgiving Day parade in Baltimore one day with her family, and she just sort of like sneaks off into this fish store to look at like fish. Turns out the owner of the fish store is like a fucking psychopath child killer, and he like kidnaps. And it was done so well like that part of it, and then it just sort of like dropped that for like the rest of the story, which is the story of Cleo Sherwood, who's our, I guess, other star. She's a young black woman, and she's working in this like, she works for like this like black side of town like crime boss at his at one of his clubs,
like a drug guy or something.
He runs numbers. He runs like a numbers numbers thing, and she's his bookkeeper. But he's like a powerful guy, and he has a lot of sway in the black community, and he's like in politics and like all this stuff. And she works for him, and the show is about her death, and the entire show from the first fucking like shot, you know she dies, and you know that she, like this is where it's going because it's narrated by her, and then the narration is like her talking to Maddie, who is like investigating her murder. So it was really cool, and like it explores like these like socio-political things and like racial and social injustice like in that time period. But it like never really like goes anywhere with those things. I don't know. I wish you guys watched it so I could like you guys really knew what I was talking about. But like, I mean, basically it just sets up like a lot of cool themes and stuff, but then it doesn't really like kind of go anywhere. And then the last 2 episodes, there's just like this 2-episode long like fucking dream sequence that's just insane and out of nowhere and like kind of flies the show off the rails. And I was like, what the like what's going on here? Yeah, I don't know. Ultimately, I guess I enjoyed the show, but probably the least good thing I've watched on Apple. It's good, but my least favorite thing, I should say. So even Apple is susceptible to a little
they've got some mid shows. They've got a lot of shows, so some of them are bound to be mid. I haven't watched a few of them, but there's really good ones.
I will say, she was the everybody in the show is really good. The main actor, not Natalie Portman, Moses Ingram is her name. She plays Cleo Johnson. She was fantastic. I really enjoyed everybody in it.
What else has she been in?
Let's see. She was in the last Coen Brothers film, The Tragedy of Macbeth, which I have not seen yet. And she was also in The Queen's Gambit, which I also have not seen. So she's been in some stuff. I'm not super familiar with her personally. But she was great. Everybody in it was good. Natalie Portman specifically. Excellent. She's so good. I love her. I wish she was in like more stuff. Like nowadays. I don't know. I guess she's like not super active, at least to me, in my mind. There's not a lot of stuff I feel like I remember her in recently. Other than
that was her first show, right?
I'm pretty sure that was her first television series appearance. Yeah. But yeah, so that was enjoyable. But a little bit bizarre and weird at times. But nothing that made me want to bail. Couple of trailers dropped that I wanted to talk about. I forced Marvin to watch trailers. First one is this Wolfman. Were you guys like familiar prior? Like, when I say familiar, did you know this was coming? Dusty, you probably more than anybody. Did you know this was coming?
I don't think so, actually. I knew Ochi was coming. I watched that trailer a while back, but I didn't know about this one.
So this is Blumhouse. Our girl Julie Garner's in it. She's starring in it. Our girl from the show with the worst ending of all time, Ozark.
Yep.
Will never be dethroned. But yeah, so this kind of like came out of nowhere, or at least for me, and I think it's crazy how many movies don't really get off the ground because just of average normal people shit like scheduling. Turns out Wolfman is one of these, so I was doing some reading about it because I did not know it existed. But it was announced back in 2014 to be part of that shared cinematic universe that was going to be centered around the Universal monsters, the Dark Universe they were calling it. And after the disastrous failure of The Mummy in 2017, Universal apparently shifted its focus to standalone movies. So after that, turns out Universal accepted a pitch by Ryan Gosling and Derek Sanfrance, and Gosling would have starred in it. Derek Sanfrance would have directed. Derek Sanfrance, if you're not familiar, directed movies with Ryan Gosling, Blue Valentine, and Place Beyond the Pines. 2 absolutely amazing movies. Dusty, you've seen them, right? I'm sure.
Yeah.
I don't mean to ignore you, Marvin, but there's just no chance in hell you've seen Blue Valentine or Place Beyond the Pines.
Nope.
Excellent movie. But that would have been fucking sick. But they both left the project last year because of scheduling conflicts, which I found it like tickled me funny because like it's just a huge, like, I don't know, it's just the whole movie just fucking ends because these people just can't do it. I don't know. But then Universal ended up signing on this gentleman here. What's his name? Winnell. I can't remember his first name, but he directed the Invisible Man remake. Have you guys seen that?
Yeah, I think it was pretty good if I remember.
Yeah, I really liked it.
I did not watch the remake.
You didn't? Interesting.
No.
I really liked The Invisible Man. It was really good. It was what's his name? Where is he? Directed by Leigh Whannell. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. But as far as remakes go, this one was really good. And it
Elizabeth Moss was in it.
Had a really cool spin on the Invisible Man. Like where he's basically like a fucking evil version of Tony Stark. Like he's just this tech genius and he creates this like invisibility suit and uses it to fucking stalk the shit out of his ex. It was really cool. So he's now directing this Wolfman movie. But anyhow, the trailer dropped. I watched it. Did you guys watch it?
I did, and it was great.
It looks good, right?
It does.
Dusty, did you watch it?
The Wolfman?
Yeah. The trailer. Yeah. You did.
Yes.
Did you think it looked good?
Yeah, it looks good. Yeah, I was gonna say it's funny that Tom Cruise like ruined a universe,
yeah,
but also saved Hollywood.
That is good. Yeah,
he ruined an entire universe, but he did save Hollywood. So, this looks good. It looks like it'll be an interesting one. I don't, I'm not a big trailer guy, but I
know.
Wait and see.
I thought this was much better than the other trailer that we watched, but that's just me.
Yeah.
You watch your tone, Marvin. Calm down for a second.
I'm with Marvin. I watched the Ochi one.
Let him announce it.
No, I don't have to announce it. I just wanted to finish talking about Wolfman because this looks good. I mean, Blumhouse is kind of like they teeter on a very tight edge of like good stuff, but also like very terrible shit. And I don't know, this for a remake, like, I don't know, it looks kind of cool. Wolfman is like one of those like horror figures through pop culture that like I think just werewolves in general don't get a lot of love because they're kind of like it's kind of corny, But why is it any cornier than vampires, really? You know what I'm saying?
Not. No, I love werewolves.
Yeah, they just don't get a lot of love.
Awesome.
But this is the synopsis says the family man Blake relocates from San Francisco to Oregon with his workaholic wife Charlotte and daughter Ginger. After inheriting his childhood home, left vacant following his estranged father's mysterious disappearance and presumed death at the farmhouse, the family is attacked by a werewolf that claws Blake's arm. They barricade themselves inside their home, but soon Blake begins to transform. And that's basically what the trailer shows is like them. It looks like they're basically trapped in a house from something on the outside, but also with now something on the inside. And that is like, if executed well, a really terrifying premise. So,
yeah.
Hopefully it's good. I don't know. Looks interesting. Piqued my interest for sure.
Yep. I just want to see how they got in that fucking tree or whatever the fuck they were in.
The car, Jurassic Park shit. I'm curious to see how they do the makeup, if it's going to be practical or CGI. Obviously, the transformation in the original Wolfman from fucking God knows when.
1941.
Yeah, it's one of the most groundbreaking pieces of special effects in like movie history. That like it's just transitional shots of him in like more and more makeup, but like for that period of time, it was like fucking revolutionary. Yeah. American Werewolf in London also is coincidentally one of the other like very, very highly regarded transformation scenes in movie history. And that one is like his fucking muscles are popping out and shit. You ever see that one, Marvin?
No.
Oh, I'm gonna have to make you watch it someday. God, the list just never
I saw
ends.
the Marvel shit. Wasn't there a werewolf in that?
Werewolf by Night, yep.
Yeah. Couldn't remember the name of it.
The other trailer.
One of two Marvel special presentations we've gotten.
What was the other one?
Guardians Christmas.
Oh yeah, that's right. Forgot about that. The other trailer that came out that you guys keep talking about was called The Legend of Ochi, which again, no idea about this, but I can't believe you guys are saying it doesn't look good. It looks fucking like so good. What do you say?
It's A24.
Yeah.
And I will absolutely give it the due that it's worth. But that being said, between the two trailers, I just said Wolfman looks more interesting to me than Ochi. I didn't say Ochi looks bad.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Same.
All right. Well, I mean, forget the comparison. This really, I wouldn't say I'm excited for it, but this looks like something that something really refreshing for today's movie landscape. It looks like it has like Steven Spielberg sort of elements to it, but in a more fantastical way. And the synopsis for this one is: in a remote northern village, a young girl, Yuri, is raised to never go outside after dark and to fear the reclusive forest creatures known as the Ochi. When a baby Ochi is left behind by its pack, she embarks on the adventure of a lifetime to reunite it with its family. That thing was cute for CGI. I mean, what are you guys talking about here? Am I the only one that's just like melting a cute CGI creature?
It wasn't as cute as Gizmo.
That's fair. Yeah. I mean, few things are, Marvin. So I was reading about it. So that apparently the movie is going to make use of. It's a good thing you mentioned Gizmo because it makes sense. They're making use of puppetry, animatronics, and computer animation and matte paintings. So I don't know where the paintings come into play, but I am particularly interested in the puppetry and animatronics because generally these days everything is just default CGI. What was the last movie we watched? It couldn't have been Gremlins. We watched something where we were specifically talking about like animatronics and puppetry and how like sort of that art is lost because of CGI. Do you remember what it was, Dusty?
Oh man,
I can't
remember.
It might have been Gremlins. I can't really remember. But anyhow, this is being directed by Isaiah Saxon. This is his first film. He's normally he does music videos and shit. So this should be interesting. But Dusty made a great point, which is it's A24 and like, do they miss? I don't think so. But the trailer got me like, it was like, it made me emotional. I don't know. I didn't cry or anything, but I was like glued to it. I don't know. I'm looking forward to this one.
For me, I guess it feels like if you've seen one of these, you've seen them all. I mean, Okja, E.T., Harry and the Hendersons. I could probably name off about 10 more movies where it's a kid befriending a monster it turns out not to be version. A monster.
Yeah.
So it's not that I'm going to be disappointed in it. And like I said, I'll give it its fair due, but I've seen 100 of these types of movies. So while it looks cool, the creature looks cool, the story is going to have to deliver for me to be super excited about it. So I'm hesitant, but also interested.
Okay. Our boy Finn Wolfhard's in it and Willem Dafoe.
Mm-hmm.
Love them. Well, more so Willem Dafoe, but Finn Wolfhard's good. He's making
He's good
actor out of himself. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I haven't been watching anything else. I did watch I'm caught up with Superman and Lois. Dusty, Superman and Lois check. How we doing?
Not yet, no. Like I said, I haven't had time to watch anything but what I'm watching, those 3 shows. Okay.
Superman and Lois remains good, just in case.
Well, this is a short
wondering.
Run too, right? It's only 8 episodes or 5?
Might be 6, I don't know.
Yeah, 6 or 8. So
yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I'll be able to burn through it in one Saturday afternoon when I don't have anything going on, which is not normally ever.
Well, I have a segue into the news portion of the show. Folks, just a friendly reminder. If you're enjoying the show, consider subscribing if you have not done so. Please leave a like, leave a comment down below on anything that you want to pitch in on. We like hearing thoughts and, similar opinions, and it helps us out. It helps us reach a wider audience. So please consider doing all those kind things. So my segue into the news, Marvin. I it dawned on me last night when I was watching episode 3 of Superman and Lois. I was like, we're sitting here excited about a trailer for James Gunn's Superman. Like, he's not going to release a Superman trailer for his movie while Superman and Lois is running. Like, I don't think he would do that. I feel like, I mean, just purely speculation, but I feel like he wants to let that show end with respect and like, because he knows it's popular, everybody likes it. I just think they didn't want two Supermans existing. Like, that's not what they want. I mean, I think for Batman, like we talked about, like it's going to happen just because Batman's a big money gainer for WB. He probably had no choice in the matter. But anyhow, I was like, okay, we're probably not going to get a Superman trailer until that show ends. And coincidentally today, I saw that over the weekend, this isn't really news, but it's just interesting, is that James Gunn says he's been working on the first trailer for Superman over the weekend. So
maybe Thanksgiving. I don't know what is WB putting out this holiday. That's a good question.
I don't know, but so I'm thinking maybe Thanksgiving weekend we get a trailer.
That's a good time for a Superman trailer, Thanksgiving.
I don't know if Superman and Lois will be over by then. I think it probably will. That's provided they are waiting for that show to end. And if it's not at Thanksgiving, then I think for sure like Super Bowl.
Well, what day does it release?
Superman? The movie?
No, Superman and Lois. Like what day weekly?
Mondays.
And there's only been 3 episodes?
Correct. Tonight is actually the 4th episode.
Oh, well then, yeah. Thanksgiving is the 28th?
27th? Something like that.
Yeah.
I'm 38, Marvin. You can't expect me to remember holidays, okay?
Well, the math checks out. There's 4 more weeks.
Okay.
November 25th would be the last episode.
Mm-hmm.
So.
All right.
Yeah, we got Red 1 coming out on November 15th. That's that star-studded Save Santa film with Chris and The Rock and everybody else. But other than that, nothing they could put it on.
Well, we'll see what happens. I just thought that was kind of interesting that he's like, hey, everyone, I'm working on the thing.
Good.
It's happening.
Can we talk about J.K. Simmons, like his career? Like, he was this dude, and he was in Oz. If you've seen Oz,
I have.
Oz,
of course I've seen Oz, Marvel. What the fuck?
Then he was randomly like, what did he do after Oz? Actually,
J.K. Simmons, the actor, like who played in Spider-Man.
No, yeah. Wasn't he in Oz or no?
Wait,
I might be thinking of someone else.
Now you got me all fucked up.
I mean, Whiplash was the show. I think
that's a movie.
Put him on the
I'm thinking of
the movie that put him on the path he's on right now. But
no,
I mean he's.
We lost Dusty.
No,
no. Yep, he's back. Can you hear us, Dusty?
Oh no, that was him. That was him. J.K. Simmons.
We lost you for a second. Yeah, no, he's like a big time actor. He's been in the business forever in like a lot of stuff. But yeah, what did it remind you of? Why did it remind you of him?
Well, he's in this Santa movie that we were just talking about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm actually not familiar with that. Yeah, he's been in a lot of shows. You're right, he was in Oz.
Okay, so he didn't start with Oz. Or maybe that was his biggest I don't know.
No, he hasn't started it, but he didn't start with Oz. What'd you say, Dusty?
I was going to say, I haven't been watching any live sports. You haven't watched any Rangers stuff, but you're probably watching through the app or whatnot, so you don't get any commercials.
Oh, yeah. No. I don't see any commercials. Commercials, ads. Yeah, no, he was in a lot of shows leading up to Oz, and then after Oz, he started his movie career. He's in a really funny, I'm looking at it here, a really funny fucking Coen Brothers movie. It's like one of my favorite movies of theirs, and it's like not considered like one of their, I guess, better films, but it's called The Lady Killers with Tom Hanks. I fucking love this movie, bro. It is so funny. We gotta make you watch that someday. I think he really made a name for himself, I guess, as J. Jonah Jameson in Spider-Man 2. That's like,
oh yeah,
that's really when he became like known. And then
probably so.
yeah, not that made him like famous or anything. It's just he's a great actor.
He's
I love
been
him. Yeah,
consistently in shows and movies since the 80s. So yeah.
80s. Okay.
But that was my little segue into the news. Dusty, what you got for us this week? Dusty, folks, was a former newsman. He worked in video game journalism. Now he works to deliver us the news every week. What you got for us, Dusty?
All right. We're going to start with this Jimmy Fallon bit first because the rest of it kind of ties together in scheduling. On The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, Tom Holland was a guest, and he actually confirmed Spider-Man 4. Not that we didn't know it was going to happen, but this is the first confirmation from the mouth of somebody who actually is involved in the project, not just rumors and hearsay.
Right.
He said it's definitely happening, and he also went on to say everything's good to go. We're nearly there. It's super exciting, and I can't wait. I think he said they start filming next summer. Is what he said. So definitely a go. So it looks like the script is almost done or close to being done, but who knows? He also spoke about how he would love to bring Miles Morales in be the RDJ to whomever they cast as Miles. So, the student becomes a teacher type deal. He wants to.
Yeah. That was the joke. Last week I saw a tweet where somebody replied to that and said Robert Downey Jr. should play Miles. Let's just get him to play everybody.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Why not?
How does he acquire the billions or millions?
Who? Miles?
No.
RDJ.
No, I'm saying Spider-Man.
How does he play the Tony Stark? I think he just meant
like how is he gonna?
Yeah.
How's he gonna acquire the money to fund?
Yeah, the suit and shit. I think he just means in terms of like guidance.
A mentor.
Yeah, being a mentor.
Teacher,
you would
student.
know, Marvin, if you saw the new Spider-Man show with you. You son of a bitch.
He got millions. Yeah. That's what I missed.
Yeah, he's robbing old apples out of dumpsters.
What's the website that you're taking notes on again? I want to keep. Google Keep.
Yep.
Boom.
All right. I started a new list over there too. Marvel have finalized the 2025 schedule. We've got Captain America: Brave New World coming out February 14th.
Yeah.
Thunderbolts * coming out May 2nd.
Wait, what?
And there's an asterisk at the end of Thunderbolts, and they won't say why it's there. Could be change of name, could be whatever. But it's like they changed the name of the Agatha show 30 times until it was Agatha all along. But that was a meme from WandaVision. So, and then we have the Fantastic Four First Steps coming out July 25th. Now, we did have a end of the year movie, but according to Deadline, Disney has pulled Blade from its November 7th release window.
Yep.
So we've talked about this a lot. Is Blade happening? Is it not happening? Apparently it's happening, but they just want to get it right. So we'll see how that goes. But they've pulled it from the November 7th release date. So it's not coming in 2025. Who knows when it will come? They did also add 3 untitled Marvel films to the 2028 schedule, one in February, one in May, and one in November.
Mm-hmm.
Well, who knows what those are? Who cares what they are right now? We'll have to see how the next series of Marvel movies comes out. But they did give Predator a movie release date and a title. It actually stole the release date from Blade. So Predator Badlands will now premiere in this Blade spot on November 7th. I'm
hyped for that.
This year,
Prey was awesome.
Yeah, and Dan Trachtenberg, who Trachtenberg, yeah. It's the way
I thought you were talking about me for a second. I was like, wait, what did I do?
Yeah, Dan Trachtenberg, he who directed Prey is returning to helm Badlands.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, I'm excited for that.
Yeah, no straight to VOD post-Chapek trend continues. This is going to be a theatrical release.
Come on.
Just to say real quick, everybody's sitting here thinking like Blade is done for, and like what could Marvel have done to Mahershala Ali? Poor Mahershala. There's like this whole like internet fucking chatter being like, Mahershala, go play Martian Manhunter for DC, please. James Gunn, hire Mahershala. Like Marvel's like beating him. He was quoted over the weekend being like, No, I think the script is great. Like everything's going great with the movie. So whether that's true or not, I don't know. But I don't know. People are putting stuff where maybe it's not necessary. You know, just because they're delaying it doesn't mean that it's never coming out. It just means they don't want to give it a date.
Yeah.
Feige just wants to get it right, I think. You know, they've delayed a lot of things and reworked a lot of things. And again, we've talked about it a million times. It had to do with the pandemic and the way they were doing things, and also the strikes,
scamdemic,
simultaneous strikes that happened.
Yeah.
And they ended at different times. And that fucked everything up as well. So
yeah, I think, and you know, if you look at like what happened with Cyberpunk, right? Sometimes having no set date is better than having a date and changing it over and over and over again. Eventually that gets distasteful for people following along. So I don't mind that. As far as Predator goes, I'm very excited for that because I really liked Prey. I thought Prey was a great movie. In fact, I think it's the best Predator movie since the original. And I really wish the Alien franchise would take the same approach. I mentioned that during our review of Alien Romulus. I think rather than constantly having to feel as though you have to build the greater lore and this, that, and other thing, you could have the greater lore. It's already set up in Alien, but like being 7 films deep, I wish they would kind of maybe take the X-Files approach with the Monster of the Week episodes now. Where,
well, we could begin that with Noah Hawley's show.
Yeah, that's what my hope is. And like, I think Prey set a really great example of how you could do it. Like, you have a film in Prey that expands the lore of these creatures just enough, but it's its own thing. It's its own isolated things. Like, here's a predator in this time period facing off against this particular warrior. There are endless things you could do with that. Now, whether that becomes samey after a couple, maybe, but I prefer that, and I think the Alien franchise could do that as well, and I hope they do.
Okay.
Yeah. That's my 2 cents.
All right. Well, speaking of production hell, Armor Wars, apparently also there. This coming from MovieWeb. Everything is still in development. This is from the writer of the show. Everything's still in development in the same way Blade goes away and comes back the next day. Armor Wars is. It'll be a thing that happens every few months. Then it won't happen. Then it'll happen again. So yeah, they delayed Ironheart. Is that what the show is called?
Yep, Ironheart.
Ironheart. They delayed that one, and it's supposedly done. I don't know why they're not releasing that one yet, but this one is still in production, and they're having production. And even Don Cheadle himself, when he was asked about it by TV Line, if you find out about it, let me know. Yeah, he says, I think the word that's most salient in the sentence is switched. He says, I don't know. I'm not sure where anything is right now. I think things are going through a lot of changes, and we'll see what happens. We'll see, what it is. But this might be the most production hell show they have right now.
Right.
So,
I wonder what
Blade,
the deal is.
not
like,
as bad off.
I thought about this the other day. I was like, God, remember how good Endgame was? Like, what happened? Like, what's going on? Like, it's, I don't know, whatever. I thought about it because somebody commented, I saw a comment on Twitter that was like, just talking about how mid everything's been from Marvel. And I was like, you got to be okay with accepting that Endgame might have been it. Like, you got to.
It's peak, baby.
And I've talked about this too.
Never getting that again.
Nah. And I've talked about this with Halloween, right? Like, I accept that the first movie is the only movie in the lore, right? But I that doesn't mean I can't sit and enjoy some of the other ones. Like, I just don't accept them as like my Bible. They're not part of it. And I just feel, I'm starting to feel like that with Marvel now. It's just like, it ended with Endgame. Like, let's all just.
Well, and that was part of the problem too.
Admit it at this point.
Them trying to pump a bunch of shows onto their streaming platform to get people to sign up, and not having, true showrunners or true show Bibles really kind of hurt their brand a little bit.
For sure.
And then, picking shows or characters that not a lot of people had interested in, they just wanted to push for whatever reason.
Yeah. And I don't fault.
Doesn't help.
I don't fault Kevin Feige either. I don't, maybe I'm giving him undue credit, but I think he deserves credit because he crafted this whole shit and crafted it well. And I would.
Maybe he had a ghostwriter though. Maybe that's why this shit ain't hidden no more.
Well, he didn't write any of the stuff. He was just the
I know, but I'm
singular-
saying not like a literal ghostwriter, but
Oh yeah,
someone else was pulling the strings or something.
maybe. I don't know. I think he probably just got hit with a lot of like studio interference. A lot of stuff like this usually stinks of like a guy in a suit and tie, like overriding creative decisions and stuff like that. And
probably,
but who knows? Like you could look at this Blade thing, right, as being like the Blade delay being like a negative, but it could be a positive where it's like, nah, we don't need to push this out and get it out. Like, let's let it simmer and let's do it right and then put it out when it's ready,
Maybe so.
Same with Armor Wars and all this other stuff. Armor Wars might be different because I'm pretty sure it's done. But
Armor Wars, I don't think is done. Ironheart is though.
Ironheart is,
yeah,
okay.
No. Yeah.
Oh.
Anyhow.
I don't know. This wasn't in the news, but this is something I think I saw yesterday or last night. I didn't put it in. I forgot to. The writer for the new Star Wars Rey movie walked off.
I saw that.
Apparently not happy with the way things are going. He had 4 drafts of a script that he kept turning in, and Kathleen Kennedy kept giving him notes on what to do.
Give her blue hair.
The head of Star Wars. Like, yeah. And, she's not a writer. She's not a director. She was a great producer back in the day, and now she's run the Star Wars, and Star Wars is also in the shitter, according to most fans. Like, The Acolyte is the worst, with the worst ending episode by viewership of anything that Star Wars has ever put out. And I know you guys haven't watched the Clone Wars or Star Wars Rebels, as most people haven't. Those still had more views in their final show than The Acolyte did. That's why it wasn't renewed, but I don't know. There's people up top, people in suits making decisions like, well, let's just make a tweak here to that script, and I'll feel better about it. Like, you're not a script writer. What the fuck do you know?
The thing that sorry, go ahead, Marvin. Oh, I thought you were saying something. The thing that I can't understand, and I don't know that I ever will, right, is like, you would think that the ultimate goal of these executives is to make money, which it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going in a very specific direction with this because everybody says that Kathleen Kennedy is the reason for like all of fucking Star Wars' problems, stuff like that. And it's generally a lot of this audience who says these things say it for a particular reason. Oh, it's woke, right? So let's just say that there is a lot of like woke bullshit that's pushed by these studios, which sometimes there is all that pandering bullshit, right? Sucks.
Yep.
Well, you would have to assume that the studio is doing that because they are trying to pander to a specific audience, specifically to bring in that audience to make money. But what oftentimes happens when these executives make those decisions, not just woke decisions, any decision that has executive interference, tends to lose them money, yet they continue to do it instead of just being like, wait, we're losing ourselves a lot of money. Let's step back and leave it into the hands of the writers and directors going forward. I wonder why that is. I actually can't figure it out.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, how long would you say this woke trend has been going on of people complaining about it?
Probably just about 8 years now. It's been since like,
okay. So in the beginning of it, you could argue that, well, this is just like those it didn't do well because those assholes on the internet are saying this movie is bad and you shouldn't go see it. And we'll actually when people actually start watching this stuff, they'll realize it's good and they'll watch our other stuff. That never happened. Nobody ever kept watching the shit that they were putting out, and they kept watching it less and less as more shit came out. So I don't know.
That's fair. Just to be clear, I don't think there is a woke trend, but I'm just
well, I mean, you know what I mean. There's a trend of like
agenda
in the movies. The message.
They want us all to become gay, Marvin.
Yep, the old frogs.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, we were talking about aliens a little bit earlier. The Hollywood Reporter sat down with 20th Century Studios president Steve Asbell. He was a longtime Fox executive, and he came over after the acquisition by Disney. He sat down for an interview and gave some insight into the studio's future. He talked about a Secret Predator movie, an Alien sequel, and Speed 3 are all on the table.
Right.
They asked him about, how do you choose between franchise movies and original content? And he said, well, when I came in, Avatar, Apes, Alien, and Predator were the main focus. And after the acquisition, and they have some original ideas in the works, but those were their main focus, to keep stable. get the studio, on its feet. They've got a Bruce Springsteen film starting production.
Yeah.
Very soon, I think. The Boss.
That was actually one of the pieces of news that I had.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's all the info I have on it, is that it's starting soon. So if you got some more, you want to jump in here with it or wait?
I have no info. There was just a piece of, there's just a picture released of Jeremy Allen White, who's playing Bruce Springsteen.
Mm.
And,
that's the guy from The Bear?
Yeah, that's the guy from The Bear. And they released a picture of him. He looks good. I could see him playing Bruce, the boss.
He was super jacked in that wrestling movie, The Brothers.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. But yeah, good actor. Looking forward to it. And also they're doing a Sam Raimi horror movie titled Send Help, which I think gets underway in January sometime. So we've got a new Sam Raimi horror film to look forward to. I think we reported on that already, but news that it's starting in January is pretty cool.
Amazing.
And then we got an Alien sequel. And this is what he had to say on this particularly. He said, "We haven't quite closed our deal with Fede, but we are going to, and he has an idea that he's working on." As Bell himself said, to Alien Romulus, the two survivors, Rain and Andy, what's going to happen to them? Aliens are going to have to be involved. So it looks like the sequel will follow Rain and Andy, and the aliens will follow them somehow, even though they escaped and traveled to a new planet. So
no good.
Feels kind of like they're doing the whole Ripley thing over again, just with different characters. But
not a fan.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that.
We said it too. But I mean, we called it. Not that we're prophets. It's obvious when a movie makes money, like they're going to get a sequel at this point. But like, we said it in our review of like, this is probably going to get a sequel immediately. Like it just, it's like, move on, make something else. I just shared with you guys something. What was it the other day that fucking they're remaking, or not remaking? What are they doing? What did I post, Marvin? You commented on it on the Discord. Hey everybody, we have a Discord, by the way. The link should be down below. If you like to talk about movies and TV shows with like-minded individuals, hot movie liking singles, come join our Discord. And share your thoughts on stuff. Oh, there it is. Blue Streak. The movie with Martin fucking Lawrence.
Oh, yeah.
That's like...
Great movie.
It's funny, yeah. I wouldn't say it's like one of his like upper echelon films. It was announced that after the success of Bad Boys Ride or Die, Sony and him are looking to revive Blue Streak with a sequel.
Sequel.
Just like, move on already. Like... Just make new stuff.
That Bad Boys movie.
That's what it is. I mean, Blue Streak. Listen, it is a funny movie. Don't get me wrong. I've always liked that movie as a kid. I'm sure if I watched it now, I wouldn't be as favorable on it. But
probably not.
Does it need a sequel? Like, oh, God. Anyway,
I don't know. Well, Free Guy 2. As Bell says, not yet. Sean Levy and Ryan Reynolds have to come up with an idea to pitch, and they're just busy, so no Free Guy sequel yet, which was a good movie, I think.
I like that.
Ryan Reynolds has great pitches. I think him and Sean Levy could come up with a good story. So,
dude, Ryan Reynolds is turning into the new Adam Sandler, by the way. If you at all partake in film Twitter, the fucking hellscape that is of just fucking pretension and horseshit fucking opinion. Ryan is like treated like Adam Sandler was at one point. Like everything everything he does, Ryan Reynolds, is just bad and not good and dog shit and
Van Wilder is still one of my favorite comedies of all time.
Yeah, and The Proposal is one of my favorite rom-coms.
Greatest rom-coms, yeah, absolutely.
He makes good movies. Like, why is it cool to just hate people that are popular? Adam Sandler was hated for years, still is. Adam Sandler's not funny. He makes dog shit movies, blah, blah, blah. It's like, how miserable are you?
Right.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Okay. Hating on Adam. It's crazy.
Yeah, these were all rapid fire questions about sequels that may or may not be coming out. So, yeah, they asked him also about The Kingsman. No plans for The Kingsman or Die Hard right now, but a Master and Commander prequel could be in the works. Marvin, have you ever seen Master and Commander?
No, in fact, one of our audience members, Gorbatros, not really an audience member.
That's right.
He left a suggestion on the Discord saying that we should get Marvin to watch Master and Commander, so we still got to do that. See, folks,
yeah, this was a
Discord.
This is a pet pod project of Steve's because it was the first movie he worked on at Fox. So he's trying really hard to get a Master and Commander prequel, I would say. So yeah.
Okay.
And then they asked him about another AVP, and all he would say was probably. So I'm kind of excited about that. They're cheesy, fun movies. I don't care if they're bad, but Alien versus Predator, get them back in the same universe. Love it.
Yeah.
You've seen those, Marvin?
That's that for them.
There's passing, maybe.
Yep.
Honestly, I don't particularly like. They're not good movies. They're fun. I think the versus like stuff is an incredibly untapped idea. Alien versus Predator is great. Fucking Freddy versus Jason.
Yep.
It's not a good movie.
Nope.
But it embraces the cheesiness of both of those franchises, and it's a fucking good movie. Like, it's so fun to watch just two slasher icons fucking duke it out for an entire movie. Yeah, that's fun.
Freddy making jokes the whole movie. Yeah, that's good.
Like,
I have seen AVP, the first one, the Antarctica one, or whatever the fuck.
Okay.
I remember that.
Yeah, we need more stuff like that. I'm cool with, like, because that's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. True. I mean, one of the more memorable scenes of Deadpool and Wolverine is those two just beating each other up over and over and over, and that's what people want to see.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Well, Variety put out an interesting article this last week about Lionsgate and whether or not they have a problem because they've had 7 consecutive flops. 7. Now, this is a small company, right? This is not a billion-dollar company in terms of like Disney or Apple or any of these other tech giants. Like, they're a part of, I think, Stars, which they're trying to break off from, and they're trading at like $7 a share or something, down 30% from last year. So, and they usually do pretty good about managing their budgets for their movies, so they don't take like the big losses like the bigger companies do. But I mean, Borderlands, $32 million globally. That was a $100 million budget. The Crow, $23 million. 1992, $2.9 million. Never Let Go, $16 million. Dave Bautista's movie, The Killers, $5.9 million. And the only one that they really didn't take a hit on was Francis Ford Coppola's sci-fi epic Megalopolis, which made $11 million, but he fronted the $120 million budget for that movie.
So they didn't lose money on it.
They didn't lose money on it. Francis did.
Yeah.
But there was like 7 in a row. Of course, they're not the only ones. You know, there's been some other bad movies that have come out recently. Joker, Folie à Deux, Furiosa, Mad Max didn't do well. Fall Guy, Argyle, Fly Me to the Moon. But those are like one-offs for some of these studios. Like Lionsgate has hit 7 flops in a row, which is a little bit weird. So, I mean, do they take chances on stuff because they can't do the big budget movies? So maybe they just took some wrong chances. But I mean, are they going to be able to survive once they separate from Stars? And I don't know. It's a bad time for movies, though, I guess, because
free him.
Yeah,
Francis Ford Coppola is this fucking meme. I'm never gonna financially recover from this.
That's right.
You know who's not gonna financially recover either?
Who?
Kevin Costner. Nah, he's probably good, but
his
movie got
after.
Yeah, he spent so much.
That was a Netflix though, right? Netflix paid him the money. He doesn't have to. He's not worried about box office numbers.
No,
he already got his.
Kevin Costner.
We're talking about his Western trilogy.
No, he had to pay out of pocket a lot. I forgot the sum
it was,
but it was several $1 million.
Yeah, well, you know, he's got the money.
Well,
yeah.
Hey, while we're talking about money and flops, actually, you continue. Were you see what I'm pointing to? Were you going to talk about this?
Oh yeah, no, I was just going to say the last thing I was really going to say is, you know, this is a trend problem because revenues are down more than 11% of 2023 for all studios.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, what I was going to talk about, or I had this queued up. So, believe it or not, and this you're talking about budgets here. Terrifier 3, which Marvin mentioned earlier, has now passed $50 million worldwide. And while I was looking into it, I saw some stuff from the director. So believe it or not, there's one line the director of the Terrifier movies will not cross. So it was made on a $2 million budget, and its distributor, Synovus, reportedly spent just $500,000 on marketing. After 11 days in theaters, the extreme horror film made $41 million worldwide. And it reportedly boosted the ticket sales for Wild Robot as kids and teens were using it to sneak into Terrifier 3.
That's awesome.
So yeah, seems like a lot of people are looking to have their boundaries pushed by this exceptionally gory movie, as Marvin has now discovered. And the franchise's director, Damien Leone, is happy to provide that service, as he told Variety, "I'm always looking for lines to get up to push the boundary and maybe just step right over it. But then," he explains, "there's one thing you'll never see Art the Clown do on camera." And now, warning, this quote includes a spoiler for the first scene of Terrifier 3. He says, quote, "You can absolutely fall into a level of extreme distaste that I'm trying not to do. There's a scene in the beginning where Art murders a child off screen, and you just hear it. I could have shown that and the glorious way that we executed that scene. I would never do that because to me, that's just completely off-putting."
But not showing his dismembered body after the fact, 5 minutes later.
Yeah. And you're going to alienate a large majority of your audience. It's like you're trying to shock the audience so much it just becomes desperate. I think my job as an artist to try and walk that line in a more interesting way, in a more responsible way.
How are you saying? Is this the same guy that did Terrifier 1?
Sure is, yeah. He did the whole franchise.
The one that cut the woman in half from her fucking vagina?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wow. This guy, wow.
That's why
fantastic.
That's why I thought
he's walking
funny.
A fine line, Marvin. What's the line? Yeah. What's not? He doesn't know.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't I think it's funny that you caught on to the irony there. But alienating the audience I don't think is something he has to worry about, because those box office returns, look at this right here. Somebody posted this on Twitter. Terrifier 1 made $339,000. Terrifier 2 made $10.6 million. Terrifier 3 so far has made, this is inaccurate now, it's just over $50 million. So
wow.
Yeah,
well, that's great. I mean, it shows that you don't have to spend a crazy amount at least to make sales. And
yeah.
Maybe these big guys can get back to the root, which is like creating something that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Like a
star,
the problem
like
is the
character
too,
though,
or whatever, and go from there.
Like when you're paying the likes of Scarlett Johansson and Tom Cruise, you're paying them $10 million just to show up, and that takes your budget to a crazy levels.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he ain't alienating nobody, because this shit's getting a Terrifier 4, like for sure.
Oh yeah,
and you know what?
This is gonna beat Fast. This is gonna beat the Fast out. They're going to have more of Terrifiers and Fast
Terrifiers, Art in space. You know what's going to happen?
Yeah.
I bet you the next one is going to get picked up by like Blumhouse or something. It's going to get like a fucking crazy budget. And then it's going to be cool to see. But then it's going to be terrible.
It's going to be bad.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Watch.
We're going to get a Terrifier versus It.
There you go. That would be good.
Terrifier versus Pennywise. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Versus Pennywise.
Art won't be able to see Pennywise, though, because Pennywise is only visible to children.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
What else you got for us, Dusty?
All right. Well, we got one little last piece of news here. It's not really movie.
Wait, is this the segue?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. The segue is at the bottom. It's one sentence. You can see that.
Okay.
But no, this is about Netflix. They actually just shut down their AAA gaming studio. They have several.
Thank God.
This was Team Blue. They had a former Overwatch executive producer, one of Halo's creative directors, and a Sony Santa Monica art director. These were all the big names in the studio that were running this. They were trying to bring bigger games, I guess, to their game studio. Because like I said, they have other game studios. This was the Blue team. Those guys are all gone now. They've mostly made mobile games based off their exclusive series. They've got like 100 plus in the library, but this AAA division, it's no longer around, and not sure how that's going to affect Netflix games for those of you that love Netflix and their games. But
damn,
the big game producers that they brought over have left. None of them were fired, but as soon as they just no reason to say why they shut it down either. We just know that they shut it down, and all the big wigs they brought in the last year or two have left. So
interesting.
Rip to that.
Everybody's probably like, Netflix has a game studio.
Yeah, I totally forgot about it. They didn't release.
Remember, Dan?
Right?
Some time ago, we were just looking at random jobs, and we saw that there was a Netflix game director.
Oh, I do remember that. Actually, that was like,
and we were like, "Wait, what? Netflix has?"
Yeah, that's funny. I should have taken that fucking job. I should have taken it. Would have
gotten you'd be getting a fucking severance right now.
Yep, would have gotten a nice severance package. Fuck.
Nice.
But before we move on to your brilliant segue, I had two other pieces of news that I wanted to talk about. Not really news, but so this is something I'm super excited about. Something we must make Marvin watch, obviously, eventually.
The War of Rohirrim.
Nice. Rohirrim. The fucking, I don't even want to say the joke. I'm thinking of that shit. Yeah. Shit is bad racist. No, this is the Lord of the Rings animation, The War of Rohirrim. It's coming out soon.
November.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where we'll get the Superman. That's a WB IP.
Maybe. But I saw today that the War of Rohirrim is actually going to be using archival recordings of Christopher Lee doing line readings from the Hobbit films. Now, when we talked about Romulus, one of the big points of our conversation was about the likeness of Ian Holm returning via CGI. And generally that is looked at as like kind of distasteful whenever it happens. How do you feel about something like this? That's just lines of dialogue in an animation. Would you have, like Dusty, as a fan of Lord of the Rings, would you prefer to see or hear Christopher Lee's? Like, let's think about if Batman, like what if there was a new Batman animation? Would you rather have them use like archival footage of help me?
I'll give you okay, so I would rather hear James Earl Jones as Darth Vader than anybody else. If you want an example.
That's a good one. But he gave his rights away before he died.
Yeah.
I don't know if these guys did.
I don't know, but artists are artists. The problem that artists have with it is like, you're taking away work from me. I could be doing his voice probably just as good. Like, well, you're not the same, but
bro, just go do something else. I don't like that argument where it's like, oh my God, leave the work, let someone else do it or whatever. It's like, bro, just get a different role.
Yeah, I mean, if the family's okay with it, I'm okay with it. I don't care.
Okay. What about if
I mean, it's weird because if the actor himself gave permission and then the family like later came out against it, like there's been some stuff like that, like the the Michael Jackson catalog or the Tupac catalogs in music, fighting with the company that has the rights to it. So I can understand how there'd be some souring going on, but as far as fans go, fans want the material that they've enjoyed, I think.
How would you feel about a Kevin Conroy likeness voicing Batman using archival footage? Would you care?
Yeah, I'd be okay with that. Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Interesting. I don't think I care a lot of the time, depending on how it's done, like you said. And then just the other last thing I wanted to touch on here is we were just talking. I should have inserted it. We were talking about Predator and Prey. Our boy Jack Reacher, Alan Ritchson, and Amber Midthunder, who was in Prey, have been cast in the action thriller Painter. Film follows a young woman trained from a young age who must employ every skill to rescue her father after he's kidnapped. Written by John Wick writer Derek Kolstad. So
this is what we need.
Yeah, I took some note of that because that sounds fun. Plus, she's a bad bitch. She was great in Prey. I loved her.
She was.
Yeah,
she was.
And I love Alan Ritchson because he's tremendous and huge, and I want more of him. So those were my little bits of news.
A beefcake, if you will.
He is a beefcake. Yeah.
Oh, look at that disgusting film right there. Speaking of AI.
Robert Downey Jr. says he refuses to have an AI digital replica replace him in any project, whether he's alive or dead. What a coincidence that I literally just scrolled onto this. We were just talking about it.
Totally not listening to our every word.
Nah, I intend to sue all future executives just on spec. When dead, my law firm will still be very active.
That's how you know he has too much money.
Yeah. Any other news, Dusty?
Just this last little piece. This movie we're about to watch. If you haven't seen it and you want to watch it, it's coming to Amazon Prime on November 1st. Streaming platforms. It's getting a release. You know, if you don't want any spoilers, you have to wait a little while and then come watch this. But if you have seen it and it's been a while, you can watch this and let us talk about it. And then if you want to go watch it again, there you can go watch it. So yeah, just did an ad for Amazon Prime, I guess.
You did an ad for our Discord too. Keep an eye on what we're watching, folks. Watch along with us in our Discord. We post our schedule for the month, which we have to work on, boys. And you'll be able to watch along with us. Be prepared for every episode. Join in on the conversation. Leave a comment down below. Help us out. Leave a like. All that good shit.
That's right. Don't be surprised.
Yeah. Don't be surprised.
Get that schedule. You'll be able to just know.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So let's get into today's episode, or today's movie, rather. It's Make Marvin Watch Day. Once a month, Dusty and I take turns making Marvin watch stuff that he hasn't seen, but we think he should have. Yeah. And to be
kind of like Get Out, but like
not racist. Although Dusty, not big. To get in the spirit of Halloween season, I chose one of my favorite horror movies, and that is Jacob's Ladder. So, let's get into that. Ever feel like you're stuck in a nightmare that you can't wake up from, Marvin?
Yeah.
Jacob's Ladder turns that fear into a haunting reality. And this is one of my favorite movies of all time. Probably the first elevated horror movie I think I've ever watched. We've talked about elevated horror on the show a lot. And it's an incredibly influential film, not just in movies, but also in video games, which you might be surprised to hear. Jacob's Ladder greatly inspired the Silent Hill horror franchise, as well as the game Evil Within, which was made by former Resident Evil creator, I believe. And everybody's boy, your boy, Christopher Nolan, has said that Jacob's Ladder, specifically its use of abstract imagery, was an influence on his 2023 film Oppenheimer. So this is a heavy hitter, Marvin, and that's why I wanted to make you watch it. It is directed by Adrian Line, I think is how you pronounce it. And he's a very well-known filmmaker, has a lot of other good movies. Jacob's Ladder stars Tim Robbins as Jacob, and my very first celebrity crush as a child, Elizabeth Pena, as Jessie. Not from this movie, but because she was in Batteries Not Included, which I loved as a child.
Great movie.
No, I kept recognizing her from something, and I finally caved in and looked it up. It was Rush Hour.
Oh, that's right. I forgot she was in Rush Hour. I caved.
And you know, the skinnier black dude at the funeral was the Soul Glow motherfucker from Coming to America.
Was he the Soul Glow?
Yes.
That's
and of
hilarious.
course, Ving fucking Rhames.
Yeah, Ving Rhames. You know what? Honestly,
it's so funny to see some of these actors from the 90s that just aren't around anymore.
Dude, I actually forgot how many big name actors were in this movie.
Yeah.
Including fucking Macaulay Culkin.
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally forgot about that.
I knew it was Macaulay and Tim. Those are the only two I could remember.
Yeah.
It's crazy, yeah.
But this is the story of Jacob. In mourning his dead child, a haunted Vietnam War veteran attempts to uncover his past while suffering from a severe case of disassociation, to say the least. To do so, he must decipher reality and life from his own dreams, delusions, and perceptions of death. Now, this isn't like a straight up horror movie. It's I said it's an elevated horror, because elevated horror generally deals with like psychological elements, as opposed to just in your face jump scares and stuff. And this movie moves beyond the conventional horror stuff by using like genuinely like frightening visuals and ambiguous storytelling. And it challenges the audience to question the nature of reality itself, honestly. And then, as we see later in the movie, the psychological scars of war. And the movie has always stood out to me because of the atmosphere specifically. I have it over here in my notes that it set a precedent for later elevated horror movies that delve into like the human psyche and stuff. I think that this movie is like, especially in the beginning when he's on the subway, like genuinely horrifying shit imagery. And not just like the weird faces of the demons and all that, like just isolated in the subway at night.
Right.
Terrifying. Maybe it's because I've been in the Manhattan subway, but I just think that it's just a genuinely like terrifying thing. And the movie has a lot of that in this. This movie is like, makes you feel fucking scared in that way, at least me. But Marvin, let's get into it. For your first time watching it, what did you think?
Man, this shit was trash. It's like, nah, this movie was really good, but it wasn't really horror to me, like you said.
Certainly not conventional, no.
I thought it was gonna be slow, but it actually did ramp up pretty quickly. For a while, I had no clue what was real or not sometimes, but I mean, I was just kind of enjoying it for what it was.
Well, that's the point.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to.
Yeah. PTSD is an understatement in this. Like, it was
crazy. And this was made before they even knew what it was.
Right.
Yeah. Go on. I'm sorry.
No. That's it for now. Go.
I was just gonna say, that's the point of the movie. You're not supposed to know what's real or what's not. And the movie does start slow, which I think is brilliant because like you start off with him in Vietnam, and it's like random. I don't know if you probably didn't watch the trailer or read about it, but like,
nope.
Movie starts out, you wouldn't even know what's like. You'd maybe, is this a war movie that Dan made me watch? Like, what are we getting here?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, people start to like freak out, and they're fucking foaming at the mouth, and like crazy shit's going on. And then boom, all of a sudden he's on the subway car. He's like, oh, he was dreaming. Okay, so we've got a veteran who's like having PTSD flashbacks. Ooh, really old fucking lady who's weird on the train. Okay, that's bizarre. Oh, fucking demon faces in the window. All right, what are we getting into here?
Yep.
And like, oh, fucking before the demon face, it's like, oh, weird fucking slithery tail that this homeless guy has on the, and
right.
It just slowly starts to ramp, like you said. And I always, it's so effective. And
that dance scene with the James Brown playing was completely nuts. I mean, I was about to have a panic attack
with the strobe.
Scene. Yeah, the strobe, his girl like having sex with this fucking
demon
monster alien thing. Like, yeah, it was wild. But the James Brown was like, it just took me over the edge. It was insane.
Dusty, you've seen this before, I'm assuming, yeah?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
And,
it's a great movie. I think that this is one of those movies where I was trying to think of that movie we watched not too long ago. It was the Joaquin Phoenix movie where he said, don't watch this movie if you're on acid, or don't watch it not on mushrooms. I forget what he said, but that was one of those what the fuck is going on, and sometimes it's a little irritating. This is one of those few where it was actually done masterfully, and you're supposed to not know what's going on, and you're also supposed to kind of not care what's going on because you know that you're going to get there eventually, and you do. And this is one thing that I love. The last time I actually saw something done, I think this well, is Noah Hawley's show Legion, which is also amazing.
He always finds a way to come back to Legion.
Because it's amazing. You don't know what's going on, and you don't know what's real.
Yeah.
This one is on a little bit more visceral, scary level, because both of them are kind of like scary. What the fuck is going on? But yeah, this is, and I think this is like a fable in the Bible, right? That's what this whole movie is based on. Jacob is on a ladder, seeing angels ascend into heaven and demons descend into hell. And instead of putting that straight to script, he kind of made like this whole, what we are in the world is our heaven and hell of sorts. So yeah.
Yeah. So I agree with what you were talking about. Beau is Afraid with Joaquin Phoenix, and yeah, that movie is like miserable to watch. I didn't even finish that. If you guys remember, I
remember.
Was not in the mood to deal with it. I have to go back and watch it. There's another movie like that called Synecdoche, New York, written by Charlie Kaufman, Charlie Kaufman is known for writing weird fucking movies. In fact, Charlie Kaufman wrote a film that we made Marvin watch, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which is
amazing movie.
One of Charlie Kaufman's like tame movies in terms of like weirdness. And I fucking hate Synecdoche, New York. Okay, it's another one of those movies that like I just can't tolerate. It's just so weird for the sake of it. It's like a stroke fest. I can't stand that shit. This is not like that, in my opinion. This does not, and like you said, it does not make you feel frustrated at all. You're like along for the ride because you genuinely don't know what's going on with this guy. It blends reality and not reality and dream and everything so well.
Mental disorder, yeah.
You don't know what's real, what's a dream. By the end of the movie, I'm sure there's people who watch this that maybe Marvin still doesn't know what really happened to him.
Right.
So I'm going to ask you in a second how you interpreted the film before I tell you definitively what happened. But like, there are parts of this movie, like a lot of this movie feels so real. And it's not just the visions that he's having where it's like demon over there or a fucking tail on this guy or weird face in a window.
Yeah.
That imagery is genuinely scary and frightening, I think. But it's like, it's never like in your fucking face, really. Until the scene towards the end where he's getting wheeled through the hospital.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's all very subtle.
They took that man to Arkham Asylum. That shit was wild.
Yeah. Arkham from fucking hell. So none of that stuff is ever in your face, but what I think is even more impressive than the visions and stuff is the fact that like it goes from like he essentially wakes up from a dream, which is what we've been watching for like 40 minutes, which is his life with his girlfriend played by Pena, and then he's back with his ex who we thought was his ex-wife, and he's like, oh man, I'm cold and I just woke up from a dream and like I was living with this chick who I work with and blah 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 blah. And then he wakes up from that like it was a fever dream. And it's just like this layered like dream within a dream within a dream of like, what the fuck is happening? Yep. So yeah. So Marvin, what's your interpretation of this? Like by the end?
Of the ending?
Yeah.
It was like life flashing before your eyes, or somehow like living out your entire life as you're in this like weird pre-death state or something something like that is kind of how I saw it.
Yeah. It's basically his mind and spirit essentially transitioning to death. And
yeah,
a lot of people I've seen like online often think that this is like his transition to hell because of obviously the hellish stuff that he's seeing. But Dusty mentioned it. I don't know how anybody could really miss it, but there's a line that his chiropractor says towards the end of the movie. He quotes Christian mystic Meister Eckhart. He says, Eckhart saw hell too. He said, quote, the only thing that burns in hell is the part of you that won't let go of life. Your memories, your attachments, they burn them all away. But they're not punishing you, he said. They're freeing your soul. So if you're frightened of dying and you're holding on, you'll see devils tearing your life away. But if you've made your peace, then the devils are really angels freeing you from the earth. And so this like hellish nightmare that he's seemingly living by the end of the movie transitions into this like happy memory of him with his family and his dead son, played by Macaulay Culkin. And his son takes him up the stairs towards like a light. Mm-hmm. And then that scene transitions into actual reality, which is him dead in a triage in Vietnam. So this whole movie was his transition into hell. Not into hell, but more so he's in like this like limbo sort of state. And it's his soul and mind coming to terms with not only death, but the things that he did and experienced in life.
Which is funny because how many times he was looking at purgatory and all the like books related to that.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing too is big part of the plot is that, you know, while he's transitioning into death during his visions, he thinks that he was drugged by the army, and turns out that he was, given his platoon, I guess, was given a experimental drug called the ladder, which was meant to increase the soldiers' aggression.
Yeah.
And instead of fighting against the Viet Cong, his unit turned on each other, and they all killed each other, and that's how he died. So, yeah, really super interesting plot. I mean, very creative. And, it speaks to... I don't really know when, like, the public became aware, like, really aware of, like, the shit that happened to people in Vietnam and, like, what their life was when they came back. Go ahead, Dusty.
I think we were kind of aware of it. We just didn't have a name for it because there were a lot of vets from Vietnam came back pretty messed up from all the things they did, even from just exposure to Agent Orange and stuff. Like, I had some uncles that came back kind of fucked up just from exposure to all the chemicals they were using back then. That's why chemical warfare is largely illegal everywhere, but some people still...
There was a tenant in my dad's house
weapons.
Growing up who was exposed to it, and he was definitely not a well man. What did we watch recently, Dusty, that I don't know if Marvin was there for it, where we were also talking about Vietnam? Do you remember? It was like a couple episodes back.
No. I got old man brain now.
It's all right. I'll look it up. You can keep talking.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't have a whole lot more to say about this. I haven't watched it in a long time, and it was great to go back and rewatch it. It's a good one to go revisit every now and again just because of how well it's done. But
yeah, it's... Oh, we were talking about Rebel Ridge.
Oh, yeah, Rebel Ridge.
We had, like, brought up, like... Right? I think that's what it was.
That would make sense. I mean, he was a veteran.
Yeah. Oh, no, Bike Riders. That's what it was. It was Bike Riders. Because Bike Riders was... We talked about how, like, the gang went from being, like, just a social club to a gang. And, like, it was all these kids coming home from Vietnam. And, like...
Yep.
That's how that happened. The transition into crime and stuff.
That was when we were looking down our noses on soldiers and not the politicians who made the policy who sent them from war, and they felt outcast, and so they started gangs and motorcycle clubs.
A war based on a lie.
That way. Yeah. All wars we are in are basically. Good luck.
So the film's title actually refers to a biblical story of Jacob's Ladder, or the dream of a meeting place between heaven and earth. Its little known alternative title is Dante's Inferno. I'm sure you've heard of it, right?
Yep.
Dante's Inferno is one part of the Divine Comedy. There's been a lot of really good, like, portrayals of hell, I think, in pop culture, but they all go back to Dante's Inferno. And this movie has always been like a visual reference of me of, like, this is what hell is like. Like,
yeah, there's not much written that predates that.
Dante's.
Is there?
I'm not sure.
I don't think so. That's pretty old stuff.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Trying to think of what else there is that I wanted to touch on here. Yeah, I mean, I think a really good movie. I mean, I know it's not, like, again, a traditional horror, but I think there's a lot of stuff in here that's, like, genuinely frightening, like, and anxiety inducing too. Like, the dance scene, like you said, that genuinely, like, is a fucking stressful thing to watch. And, like, little moments where, like, because they do it so subtly, where, like, he's in a fight with his girlfriend, and then all of a sudden she has black eyes and teeth, and it's like, wait, what? And then it flashes back, and it's normal, and it's just, the movie kind of just does a really good job of making you feel crazy too. And
when they have him strapped to the hospital bed, and he's like, "You're dead, man." He's like, "No, I'm not dead." Yeah. I'm like, "Bruh, I'm having a conversation with you. How can I be dead? What's going on here?"
Imagine how frightening that would be, and I think it speaks to a bigger thing, which is, like, our most precious thing that we have is our mind. And, like, when you lose, like, what's scarier than, like, losing your mind, I feel like, is because would you even know you're fucking losing your mind? Like, it's just
Alzheimer's and dementia are rough.
I do not. If that ever happens, like, put a bullet in me, because I do not want to deal with that. Like, that shit's crazy. But yeah, so by the end of the film, Jacob is finally ready to move on and does so. Unfortunately, he did not get to share a bed and sleep naked with Elizabeth Pena, but you know, maybe in heaven he will. I love her so much. So was there anything else you wanted to mention, Marvin?
It was just the way that it was all like weaved together, tying in all the different themes of like, is it PTSD? Is it an actual plot? Because, like it went from like, okay, this guy is just suffering from PTSD to, oh shit, there is a government plot versus these guys. So, oh shit, he was just dead the whole time.
It's like it's like PTSD, then into like some weird like horror shit that he like.
Yeah.
Because the movie like pretty early on tells you he's dead. Like if I'm sure you had to have guessed like, oh, he's fucking dead now. Like this is him dying.
It crossed my mind. Yeah.
Because it obviously always flashes back to him wounded in Vietnam.
That was yeah.
I think there's even a scene where is it? Oh, with the palm reader, she's like, "You're already dead."
You're dead, and they were laughing. Yeah.
Yeah. So the movie like literally tells you he's dead, but so like it goes from PTSD to probably you thinking he's dead with like some horror shit happening. Oh, he's in hell because he did some crazy shit in Vietnam.
Right.
But then the movie like literally pulls you back, and it's like, no, there's like
it's a plot.
There's like an army conspiracy here going on. His friends are
Getting
being
a
weird.
Lawyer.
Yeah, but technically he wasn't dead because that was his path to death, and he didn't die until the very end. Like,
he wasn't dead, but he's laying in a triage in Vietnam.
Unconscious triage. Yeah.
He's not like in the real world doing all.
It's
stuff.
It's like the thing, like like when you have a dream, it's like you wake up, it's like, oh man, that dream was like 5 minutes, but it's like the opposite in this scenario where like he's lived this entire life or whatever, how many ever months, but it could have been like a second or 3 seconds or whatever.
Yeah, it's bizarre. But yeah, it's always been like one of my favorite movies. I hadn't seen it in like a really long time, and like last minute I was like, because we were gonna make you watch Possession, this other horror movie. We'll have to save that for another time. And I was like, as I was making the schedule like a week or two ago, I was like, oh, you know what, like I think Jacob's Ladder's got to be it.
It's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like, it's definitely more of a cult classic. It doesn't have like this huge like fame attached to it, but it is wildly influential on a lot of different things. So for that reason, I think it's necessary that you watched it, and you did, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. And you got to see a plethora of 90s actors.
It was great, honestly.
So yeah, it has a 7.4. What?
Fatal Attraction is another one this director's done. That's a really good one.
Fatal Attraction is a great movie. But this has a 7.4 on IMDb. I would give this one a full bump to this is a 8.5 for me. This is
what are the flaws for you?
For me, I mean, interesting question. I actually don't think there are any flaws, so maybe it's a 10 for me. I don't know.
It's a 10 for me. That's why I asked.
All right, yeah, no, you're right. It's a 10.
I'm gonna bring it down. I gotta give it an 8.
You gave it a 10.
I'll give it an 8.5. I'll give it an 8.5.
What are the flaws for you then?
Dusty Gripes coming. Need a Dusty Gripe shirt.
Oh man, that's actually a good one. How can I represent that?
Like, oh man, that pebble is off by.
You know what? I actually don't have any gripes, so I'll give it a 9.
There we go. Because he refuses to give it a 10.
That's a Dusty perfect.
That's a Dusty
perfect. That is a Dusty perfect.
Yeah, all right. So perfect score. There we go. Big fan. Didn't think that would happen. I was not sure if you were gonna like it actually.
It was great.
Because it is a little bit slow. I thought maybe you would have been disappointed that it's not like a horror movie. But like these are the movies that I prefer, like in that genre. Like I love the psychological stuff. Like and I don't know if you remember, but when we talked about the new Halloween trilogy that deals a lot with Laurie's trauma, I referenced this movie quite a few times, and I don't know, you obviously didn't have any context for it, but I said I would prefer a movie like Jacob's Ladder. Now that
I see what you mean now. Yeah.
Now that you've watched it, imagine a Laurie 40 years later, dealing with the trauma that she survived this psycho killer who butchered her friends on Halloween night.
Yeah.
And like
every Halloween comes around, you're just
instead of bringing Michael back literally like they did in the movie, do some shit like this where she's suffering this like severe psychological fucking trauma and she's like disassociating and like all this crazy shit. And so like in that way, you could have Michael Myers in the film without having him in the film because his presence would be felt throughout and all through her life. I feel like that would have been such an effective sequel that I would have accepted into the actual official lore of the movie, but whatever, wasn't. So, yeah. If there's any horror movies you want to suggest, folks, make it like this for me because these are the ones that I
join the Discord and let us know.
I lean towards,
or leave a comment right down below.
Yeah, leave a comment on the video, sure.
Yeah, you've heard Marvin's thoughts. He watched this for the first time. Let us know what you thought of Jacob's Ladder. I would imagine there's a lot of fans out there. As like I said, it's a cult classic. So leave your thoughts. Let us know if we missed anything that you think is cool about this movie or worth talking about. Consider subscribing if you have not done so already. And again, if you're feeling extra generous, leave a little bit of a like, leave a comment. It helps us out. It helps push our video out there so more people see it. But we do this once a week. Join us next week. We don't know what we're talking about yet, but we do have our calendar over on Discord. If you use Discord, feel free to join. Link will be down below. But we'll catch you next week, folks. Thanks for hanging out with us.
See ya.
Hasta.